Hey guys, Casey again. So this week's sermon is on the Triforce, and if any of you are a nerd like I am, I'm wearing a Christian Star Wars shirt right now. And I play a lot of video games, but one of my favorite games ever was The Legend of Zelda, and it's always been special for me. But I'm trying to incorporate Zelda into my speeches. So if any of you are familiar with the game, you know what the Triforce is. The Triforce is a triangle that had three parts to it. The top part was power, and then there was wisdom and courage, and these three pieces made up the Triforce, and this is what ruled the kingdom of Hyrule. And so I have a question for you. Would you consider yourself powerful, or wise, or courageous? So there are parts. There are three parts. Power, wisdom, courage. And if you could describe yourself in one word, I doubt those would be the words. I would be more like smart, or funny, or handsome, whatever. So, but the thing is that once you become a Christian, you have all three. You're powerful, you're wise, you're courageous. Alright, so let's go to the game. Let's start with courage. Courage, as you know in the game, represents Link. He goes on an adventure and he saves the world. He was so full of courage. And in the Bible, there's so many people that are so full of courage. Moses, when he leaves the people out of Egypt. Noah, when he decides to build a boat because God told him to. Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, when they got thrown into the fiery pit. Esther, when she had to go up against a king who, at one swipe of the scepter could cut off her head. And, any of the disciples at the, that followed Jesus. These people were so full of courage, and it abounded out of them. And, we have that. Let's go to wisdom. Wisdom was Princess Zelda, of course. And, wisdom isn't really one of those things like, oh, how are you doing? It's like, oh, I'm feeling wise today. I was like, oh, really? That's awesome. But in James 1:5 it says, if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. So really, wisdom, you just have to ask for it, and it's yours. It's like, God, please, as I go throughout today, please grant me the wisdom to know what to do when you present a challenge before me, to make the right decision. And it's really cool. And then power in the game was the bad guy, but it doesn't necessarily mean that in real life power has to be bad. You can be powerful, you can be awesome without having to be the bad guy. And then an awesome example, Stephen is considered the first martyr out of the whole entire Bible, and he was stoned to death before the Sanhedrin. And so, let me talk about Stephen. All right, so he had the power to go before the Sanhedrin. He had the wisdom to know what to say, and he had the courage to say it. And here's a verse in Acts 6:10. It says, "But they were no match for his power and wisdom, and the Holy Spirit filled him with courage as he spoke." And the Holy Spirit is kind of the forgotten piece of the Trinity. The Trinity, as in Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Kind of like the Triforce. I don't know. All right, but the Holy Spirit's kind of like the stepbrother, or the child that never really fit in. And it's sad because Jesus left the earth and said that he had to leave so that we could receive the Holy Spirit. I mean, I want to hang out with Jesus. I want to go, hang out with Jesus, go party with Jesus. It'd be awesome. But, Jesus left so that we could have the Holy Spirit. And don't you think the Holy Spirit would be pretty awesome if Jesus had to leave for it? Now, if you want to get into more about the Holy Spirit, there's an awesome book I think you should read. It's called Forgotten God by Francis Chan. It's an amazing pastor, and I'll leave the thing in the description. Go check it out. It's awesome. And as you know, follow me on Twitter at Casbaxter, or if you want to leave me ideas for future messages, You can email me at casbaxter@gmail.com. I'll leave it in the description. I want you guys to have a blessed week, and God bless.